Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I want to welcome my new subscribers, and I want to kind of, I watch all kinds of different channels, and I watched a channel, and it was really kind of talking down about being a prepper. And, you know, just because you're a prepper doesn't mean you're MAGA. I am not MAGA. I am not a Trump supporter. I am for freedoms, liberties, civil rights, women's rights. We'll just get that right out there. I do know that we're getting ready to get into a part of life that a lot of people don't know how to deal with because they've never had the mindset of being prepared. So we need to prepare for our new world. I am a product of my environments. And I say environments because I have lived from the holler uh, to the city life. I have lived rural, suburban, and homeless. I have lived in my car. I have lived on the inner streets of Cincinnati. I have lived out here in the middle of nowhere. Um, my grandparents came from the hollers in Kentucky. Um, and so I had that experience as well. No running water, outhouse, spring house to keep stuff cold, um, growing and preserving every bit of food that you can. Um, my mother lived in rural. She moved up here. And I can remember going to the grocery store with her, and I didn't realize that she was couponing and doing sales and stuff. I was little. I didn't understand that. Um, but she had a full pantry. I mean, a walk in closet, full pantry, two deep freezes, and she was always well prepared for whatever. Um, you know, we would grow a garden, she would can, we would harvest, we would freeze, we would preserve. I mean, it's kind of like a natural thing. Even my grandmother up here canned. They had gardens, they canned. Um, but as we have evolved in our society, it's mostly that we're dependent upon grocery stores. And there is nothing wrong with that. To have food available, all different styles, all different types. So there's nothing wrong with that. But there is a problem, like we saw during COVID when we saw empty shelves. And, I'm really concerned with a lot of situations like that arising with the anti-vaccine kind of movement that we're going to see. So, that could happen again, a pandemic. I mean, history repeats itself, right? All right. Not only that, but we also have to look at around the world what's going on. What's going on around the world? Well, there's wars, there's protests, there's victories, there's losses. And if you look at those places, those people were also dependent upon a store, right? Is it there anymore? Are there markets there anymore? I mean, you have to think about that. Now, we have our seasonal being prepared. Being prepared for winter here is very important. I don't want to get out in it. I don't want to be a part of a road issue or anything like that. So I make certain that we have everything we need for the winter. If you live in hurricane season or hurricane areas, you have those things that even the government says you should have on hand, right? 72 hours or more worth of food, extra water, flashlights, batteries, blankets, you know, a plan to leave if you have to leave. I mean, that's normal stuff. So being prepared for any of that does not make me an anti government militia group. And I just wanted to get that out there because I think there's a misconception when people are talking about preppers. I do prepare for things that are even more complicated than that. But the reason is because I'm watching the world. I'm watching what other countries, what their civilians are going through. Yeah, I have extra medical supplies. I have those things. I have, if things were to shut down today, we would live very well. Not well, but we would do well. All my little animals, they can eat out of my pantry, except for the guinea pigs and Lily. But Lily can also eat canned fruit if I need to get her something a little more sugary. I mean, there's there's a need for people to be prepared, even if it is just buying extra. You have to be smart about it because economics are going to get really, really bad. And that's another reason why you want to be prepared. You want to buy products at its lowest price, stock them up so you don't have to worry about it. Canned meat is going to be unbelievable. Coffee. What do you buy that's imported? You might want to check that out. Those are the things you need to stock up on. And you want to do it before this next administration comes in. It's not it's not a doomsday situation. It's a this could happen situation. What if something happened with transport? They've threatened it. They've threatened stopping transport. The truckers have. Harbor workers, dock workers, whatever you want to call them. They've threatened strikes, which would mean supply chain issues, which means if you don't have that product at home, when will you be able to get it? So being a prepper is not about doomsday. It's about these things are coming to fruition. What if Trump calls for martial law during his deportation, bloody deportation? I mean, what if it becomes a civil type war? What if that happens? Because people aren't going to take to martial law very well. And then what if he wants to take away guns? Because that was on the table in one discussion I saw of his. I mean, this is serious. And being prepared is nothing new. It's not a new concept. It was lost due to convenience of grocery stores. My granny would put up 2 acres of potatoes in cardboard boxes underneath all of the beds in her house. My poppy would go and fish and she would can it. Dried apples, canned apples, dried beans, canned beans, all of those things. What's the difference? What if things were to get rough and tough? Are you going to want to be out in it? Or do you want to make certain that you have what you need? I mean, I'm just asking. People assume since I'm a prepper and live a prepper lifestyle that means that I'm MAGA or a Trump supporter. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. So my suggestion is to take advice from people who are are trying to give you insight on what could happen and what you should do. Put extra food in your pantry. Get a bucket of food ready just in case. If you live in the city, have a plan to get out. But my concern is that there is such a misconception about being a prepper because we've lost the fact that our ancestors, very recent ancestors, prepared by growing food, harvesting it, and preserving it. So, with that being said, welcome. Now you know where my stance is. Get prepared because things are going to get rough. Bye, y'all. Hugs from a distance.